Hey guys, it's Joe. Happy Thursday. It's time for a Pikkit with Joe. We have 14 games on the slate, large set of games today, and we've got some games that really mean a lot and some other games that you probably want to avoid betting today in these ones. So we're going to go over each and every game here. I'm excited to be here, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today. We're going to kick it off with the first game. We're going to look at the Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the New Jersey Devils. Now, this is one where the Devils are coming in as a major favorites at minus 390. Hard to jump on them, laying the 2.5 on that puck line in this one. Vanacek is likely for them, and the Columbus Blue Jackets, Hutchinson, is expected here. So looking at this matchup, you guys, we got a total of 7. I do think the only way I could touch a side in this one would be looking at Columbus plus the 2.5. You're still getting some value there. The last time these teams matched up in February, it was a 1-goal game. So I can't get behind the New Jersey Devils to win this one by 3 goals. Now, when we look at this matchup and how the Columbus Blue Jackets have done in New Jersey, it's actually really interesting to see, because we know Columbus is not a strong team, sitting 8 in the Metro, 2nd in the Metro here for the New Jersey Devils. But Columbus actually has rolled into New Jersey, played some really strong games. They are 10-4 in the last 14 meetings with New Jersey, and in New Jersey they've gone, or sorry, that's in New Jersey, and they've gone 21-7 in the last 28 meetings overall. So this is a team that they know how to beat. Grabbing them plus the 2.5 at minus 120, I think, is a phenomenal way to go. At plus 320, do we want to sprinkle on that money line? I don't know. I'm kind of tempted, you guys, but that would be a long shot sprinkle worth a couple dollars, but I wouldn't put a lot of money on that. That is for sure. We do have strong trends to the under in New Jersey as well. Shout out to you guys for being here. Matt, thank you for the congratulations for my Flames. That was a stressful game, to say the least, with Calgary going down and the Jets getting up nicely to start it. Taylor, shout out to you as well. Hey, James, welcome to the show. Kenny, I know those Flames. I was so happy to see that happen. Cheers from Thailand, James. Thanks for tuning in all the way from Thailand. How's the weather over there today? I hope it's beautiful. The sun is shining here. I'm sure it's always beautiful in Thailand. And yeah, Jack Hughes, the Anytime Golf. You're going to count on someone for the New Jersey Devils. We know Jack Hughes has been an absolute moneymaker for us this season. So I do like looking at him for that anytime goal. We know the shots are going to come raining in as well, as the New Jersey Devils averaging that 34.5 shots on goal per game. So we're going to get those shots in this game. Jack Hughes probably can get that anytime goal. The home team has gone 4-1 in the last 5 meetings. I just look at the Devils. They got the Bruins on deck, and then the Sabres and the Washington Capitals. I do think they get this win. I just don't see it being a blowout win here. So give me the Columbus Blue Jackets plus the 2.5 at minus 120. Let's look at the next game on the board, and this is an interesting one, to say the least. Every day is a gorgeous day this time of year. James, I am so happy to hear that for you. Must be absolutely beautiful over there. Okay, let's look at the Minnesota Wild taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, this is going to be a fantastic game here. I really do believe the Penguins need this win so badly. Sidney Crosby, I'm looking at to have a really strong game. And the storyline of this, Marc-Andre Fleury in net versus his former team of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So I do think we look at Marc-Andre Fleury to stand on his head. He definitely wants to show his old team what they're missing here. He was drafted by the Pittsburgh Penguins. So looking at Marc-Andre Fleury of the Minnesota Wild, over 31.5 save shots on goal. And I know he's had some games where he's let us down. He's let those goals in. I do think this one, looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins, they average 34.4 shots on goal per game. I think they come in flying. I think they come in hot. Like I said, the Penguins need this win. So I think we're going to see the best game out of them here. I do think Marc-Andre Fleury stands on his head versus his old team, so I'm going to ride him over the 31.5. But I think Sidney Crosby will find the back of his net. I'm expecting the Pittsburgh Penguins to put up at least 37 shots on Marc-Andre Fleury, and that's why I'm liking the over 31.5 at -104. I think there is extreme value here. Now, looking at the other side of the puck, we got Tristan Jarry in goal for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the Minnesota Wild allow that 31 shots on goal, so we will see the Penguins be able to get those shots. And the Penguins allowing 33.1. I'm going to stay off Tristan Jarry just because I think there's so many other ways that I want to take the bets in this game. We look at the Wild. They have struggled in Pittsburgh. They are 2-6 in their last 8 meetings in Pittsburgh and 1-7 in their last 8 overall versus Pittsburgh. Now, they're sitting third in the Central. And while they do have something to play for here, I do think that the Pittsburgh Penguins have so much more to play for with this team sitting 5th in that Metro spot, just fighting to keep playoff hopes alive. So give me the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're laying -125 with them. I do think the over 31.5 save shots on goal for Marc-Andre Fleury, but Sidney Crosby for that anytime goal is everywhere that I want to go with this one. And I also want to take it to OT. I do think this one has the ability to go to overtime. Now, these two teams have trended towards that over. I'm a little nervous about the over. This total is sitting at 6, and we know the easy ability for this one to go over. I think I'd rather take it to go to overtime because when I look at this, in my mind, it's a 2-2 going to OT or it's a 3-3 going to OT. So I'm nervous about that total. I don't want to take it to go over just because I think it has a possibility of being 2-2, but I can see it going 3-3 and then going to overtime as well. So staying off that, we're going to hit that to go to overtime. The last 5 meetings have gone over the total if you're looking for those trends, and 7 of the last 8 in Pittsburgh have gone over as well. You like the Sabres and the Red Wings first period over tonight. Yeah, we're going to look at that game in a couple of minutes. I don't blame you for liking that over, James. I think it's a nice way to go. You went to your first NHL game on Monday. Oh, my God. I absolutely love that. And your Kraken got you the win. That opening for the Seattle Kraken is absolutely phenomenal, Raven. So I'm glad you got to experience that. That would have been an incredible game to go to. And, yeah, Raven, you're right. The Seattle Kraken need to come out. They need to come out big and clinch this playoff spot for them. So I'm with you. Go Penguins. Let's get that money today, you guys. Let's talk about the next game. We got the Ottawa Senators taking on the Florida Panthers. Panthers still holding on to hopes for playoffs here. Alex Lyon confirmed in goal for them, and we have the Ottawa Senators expected to start Cam Talbot. Now, plus 200 here for the Ottawa Senators. We got -240 for the Florida Panthers. And we look at these two teams. They're trending in the opposite direction, with the Ottawa Senators losing their last 3 games. They lost that one to the Carolina Hurricanes. In OT, though, they really pushed that game. It was a 3-2 loss. And the Florida Panthers have won their last 4. They got a nice win over the Buffalo Sabres on Thursday. It was a 2-1 low-scoring game. Sorry, that was Tuesday. We are Thursday today. So that was a nice low-scoring game. This team really stepping up defensively. Not what I wanted to see because I had that first period over 1.5. I expected that whole game to probably stay under that total of 7, but a stronger first period. We weren't able to get that. But I do think the Florida Panthers come out strong in the first period here. I'm going to look at them instead of the full game puck line. I'm going to look at them on the puck line in the first period, laying the half a goal. We're getting that at plus 110. I do think this is another game that has the possibility of going to OT. The Ottawa Senators, while they don't have anything left to play for, they do have a team that never gives up. Brady Tkachuk is playing absolutely phenomenal hockey for this team. And I do think the Sens can push the Panthers into OT here. The Panthers absolutely desperately need this win. Teams that are desperately needing wins as well, you do see some mistakes in some of these games. So I think the Ottawa Senators can force some mistakes here and stay relevant in this game and push it to OT. The Senators are 1-4 in their last 5 overall, though, you guys, and they're 1-4 in their last 5 in the 4th game of a 4-6 situation. So I do think this is going to be a harder one. I do think we see tighter legs. They also have struggled versus the Florida Panthers, unable to win any of the last 4 meetings. So I think the Panthers get the win, but you guys, you can't just lay them at -240 here. I do think puck line first period, and then I have to look at this one to go to OT because, like I said, the Senators are not going to give up. Yeah, the Kraken need it to clinch the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see them out tonight. I do think we see a good night out of them. Let's talk about two teams that are really set in their positioning. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Boston Bruins. Now, this game, I tell you, I don't know what we're going to get out of both of these teams. We know the Boston Bruins so strong on their home ice. Swayman is confirmed here, and Samsonov likely here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, the Leafs won their last game Tuesday versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. They got a 4-2 win. One I was kind of PO'd with. I wanted Columbus to cover that puck line, but not able to do so. And then we look at the Boston Bruins. They won their last 3 games. They're off that overtime win versus the St. Louis Blues. And that game, they should never have had to go to St. Louis and go to overtime in. The last time these teams matched up was back in February, and we saw the Bruins get a dominating 5-2 win. Now, Ryan O'Reilly is back for the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is a huge, you guys know, that is absolutely huge for their lineups. Ryan O'Reilly, when he got traded over here to the Toronto Maple Leafs, made a huge, big impact right away. It really gave Leafs fans and everyone in the hockey community hopes that the Toronto Maple Leafs would make it out of the first round this year of the playoffs into the second round. But we're going to see, and I think we see a really strong effort out of the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, because now Ryan O'Reilly is back in the lineup. They have to get things flowing nicely to go into the playoffs. They don't want to kind of come out here and cruise. Now, the Boston Bruins, I think we'll see coming out and cruising through this game. Do they win it? Maybe, but at -150, I just can't get behind the Boston Bruins here. It's too juicy. I do think this one we probably see open up, and we see more offensive power than defensive power in this one. So I would lean to the over 6. But this is one of those games I really, if you don't have to bet it, I don't see a reason to bet it unless you think the Leafs can get the job done. And I do think there's a little bit of value on the Toronto Maple Leafs at +130. So I do think this could be one of those games. But again, this is a battle of the Atlantic. So I think we're going to see Boston come out and be like, hey, this is our home ice. You're not going to get the win. It's just the mindset. It's if the coaches will sit any of these players, these teams, knowing exactly where they are sitting in the playoffs. So do they want to show their whole hand as well versus each other? It'll be really interesting. But with Ryan O'Reilly back, I do think that the Maple Leafs will try harder in this game, if that makes sense. You like the Bruins here on the money line, and I completely understand why. Austin Matthews shot props tonight. Yeah, I would probably look at the shot props for these guys. I would look at both of these goalies to have strong nights as well. Both of these teams averaging just over 32 shots on goal per game. When we look at these teams as well, their defense is limiting opponents to just under 30, that 29 for both of them. So I do think we're going to see a little bit more shots on goal. Like I said, I like the offensive side of the puck tonight for both of these teams over the defensive one, but I do think the goaltending has a solid night. So this total at 6, we know how easy we can see this one go over that total. This could be another one where, do we push to OT? We might, because I think the Leafs are going to give us a hard effort. I don't think the Boston Bruins want to lose this game at home, but I don't think we see a game where they're really tight defensively and really limit the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think we see offensive power in this one. So I would lean to the over. I would lean on the shot props. Austin Matthews, shots on goal, absolutely. You got to look at him for that anytime goal, especially on Swayman here. So I do think it's a strong way to go. Let's move on, you guys. 14 games on the board. We are at the point where we're going to talk the Washington Capitals and Montreal Canadiens. Now, the positive is one team has to break their losing streak. Both of these teams have lost their last 4 games. Washington Capitals, though, have absolutely owned and dominated the Montreal Canadiens. They are 25-10 in the last 35 meetings versus Montreal, and 21-6 in the last 27 meetings in Montreal. The road team has huge advantage between these two, with the road team pretty much normally getting the win, 25-11 in the last 36 meetings. Now, neither of these teams has anything to play for, you guys, except for a little bit of pride. Kemper is confirmed in goal for the Washington Capitals, and this will be their first time missing the playoffs, the second time missing the playoffs since 2008. So you think about all of those seasons, they absolutely have made the playoffs except for one other time. This team not used to not making it into the postseason. So these guys are going to go golfing. They're sitting 6th in the Metro, a couple more games to finish up the year, but I do think we see them finish up with pride. Now, looking at the Montreal Canadiens, Sam Montembeault is confirmed in goal, and I like what we've seen out of Sam Montembeault. And while I would love to take this one under because I do think both goaltenders come out strong, I just can't. I do think this is a 4-3 style game. We look at the last time these two teams played. It was back, it wasn't that long ago, but the Washington Capitals got a 9-2 win. That was 11 goals. I cannot take this one under that total. The over is hit in 6 of the last 11 meetings in Montreal. One of those was a push, and it's 6-1-1 in the last 8 meetings overall between these two. So I am looking for this one to go over nicely, that total. Raven also liking it to go over here. Yeah, Kenny, I would. I think the Leafs and the Bruins have every opportunity to go to overtime. If Ryan O'Reilly wasn't injected back in the lineup tonight, I wouldn't be looking at it at all. But I think with him back in the lineup, I do think the Toronto Maple Leafs want to get things connecting. They want to roll into the playoffs like it feels like he's never not been on the ice with them. He was off for quite a while. So they're going to want to put some effort into this game, and especially facing a Boston. These two teams are going to battle it out tonight and every chance of going to OT here. Let's look at the next game on the board, you guys. We have the Buffalo Sabres taking on the Detroit Red Wings again. Another game where neither team is going anywhere except golfing after this next week here. The Buffalo Sabres coming in here at -110. The Detroit Red Wings -110, total sitting at 6.5. Now, Levi is likely for the Buffalo Sabres, and Husso for the Detroit Red Wings is confirmed. The last time these teams played back in December, we did see the Buffalo Sabres get a nice big 6-3 win. Now, Tage Thompson is still day-to-day, so unsure if he is going to play in this team. Really, lots of people had high hopes for them coming into this season, but not making the postseason here. I'm looking at this team, though. They are playing with pride. I do think if you want to take a side, I would have to lean on the Buffalo Sabres at -110. Now, these teams have trended to that under 7-3 in the last 10 meetings. In Detroit, to that under. I can't in my right mind take this one to the under, though, because I do look at another one for a 3 style game, unless the Sabres are really able to limit the Red Wings in this game and not allow them to score on Levi here. And with Husso confirmed, Husso is one of those goalies. He has good days, he has bad days, but I think the Buffalo Sabres could go over. I'd look at that first period over 1.5. I'd also look for both teams to score in that first period, because we know these goalies very prone to giving up those goals. And with nothing to play for here, I do think we see more offense than we do see defense in this game. So I lean over the 6.5, even though they trend to that under. But I do think the Sabres are the right side to be on this game at -110. Raven going to roll with the Red Wings on the money line. And I don't blame you, because we look at that, the Red Wings on the money line, and we go there at home. They want to impress their home crowd. I just don't know. We look at the Sabres on the road. They're 22-12, 1-2 on the road this season. The Red Wings 18-15, 2-2. I just have more faith in the Buffalo Sabres, and I think because I really did think the Buffalo Sabres would go further into the season, into the postseason, than we're seeing them and how they finish up the season. I think they have the ability to pull it off. I didn't have much faith in the Red Wings coming into this one. Let's look at the next game. Now, this game is actually one that I think is interesting. The Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the New York Islanders. Now, Brian Elliott is expected in goal for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Sorokin expected here for the New York Islanders. This is a game that means something to the Islanders. They are clinging on to playoff hopes here. The Islanders absolutely need this win. Now, we look at the Lightning. If the Lightning had not played yesterday, I would not feel comfortable with the Islanders here at it's -140 right now. But the Lightning on that back-to-back have absolutely struggled, you guys. They are 1-10 in their last 11 games playing with 0 days rest. I cannot take the Lightning here on the road versus a desperate, hungry New York Islanders team. Yes, this team has been inconsistent. And yes, this team is one that I've struggled to bet on this season because it seems like they give us all this hope and then they absolutely let us down. But in this game, I do think on their home ice with the Lightning on the back-to-back, the New York Islanders have every opportunity to get this win with Sorokin and goal. At -140, I do think it is worth it. Now, you've got to look back 5 days. The Tampa Bay Lightning destroyed the Islanders. So I do think we have that revenge factor. The Lightning got the shutout 5-0. So that's what I mean with this Islanders team. They are very all over the place. They're very inconsistent. But I do think with Brian Elliott expected here for the Lightning on the back-to-back for this team, you got to take the Islanders in this one. So fingers crossed, you guys. The Islanders do not let us down again. You are already on the Islanders and the Wild there on the money line. I wish you the best of luck for sure. Yeah, Benji, the Islanders need this. Tampa got beat up last night. Absolutely. It's what I'm looking at too. A desperate Islanders team, that is for sure. James, you're looking at the first period. Which game are you looking at in the first period? I'm pretty sure you put that up when I was talking about the other game between Buffalo and Detroit. So let me know what you're looking at there. Let's look at the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Nashville Predators. Now, this is an interesting one. Carolina coming in here first in the Metro right now. We know they're being chased, and we've got the Preds 5th in the Central. Now, this one is a total 5.5, which is absolutely terrifying because I could see this one going to OT as well. Is it 2-2 going to overtime, or is it 3-3 going to overtime is my biggest question. 5.5, I would feel more comfortable with the over. If it was 6.5, I'd feel more comfortable with the under, even though it has the possibility of going 3-3 to overtime. This game is going to be an absolutely fight here. The Nashville Predators, playoff hopes alive. If they have to get this win, again, we have teams that have to get wins. And yes, the Canes are sitting first in the Metro right now, but they want to stay first in the Metro. There's not many points difference here between these teams in the Metro. So I look at this one. I do think the Predators, the values on the Predators, plus 150 on the Nashville Predators to get the win. And I got to take it, you guys. I do think they have the opportunity of pulling off the upset. They got the win over Vegas in overtime. That was a 3-2 win. We look at the Carolina Hurricanes. They've won their last 3. Their last game went to overtime versus the Senators 3-2. So taking this one to overtime makes total sense to me, as both of these teams would get at least 1 point. One team would get 2. I'm pretty sure Carolina would settle for either. The Predators definitely want those 2 points in this one. Plus 150 though. I tell you, the home team has gone 12-3 in the last 15 meetings between these two. I got to take the Predators, you guys. And at 5.5, I got to take that over because I do think it could be 3-3. Okay, it's going to be a great game. Let's look at the next team. We got the third team in the Metro here with the New York Rangers taking on the St. Louis Blues. Now, Halleck expected here for the New York Rangers, and St. Louis Blues likely to start Jordan Binnington. You guys know, not my favorite goalie in the world. We got a total of 6.5. We got the Blues as the underdog at plus 140. And right away, I looked at this matchup before I looked at some trends, and I went, well, it's a Rangers game. Rangers are the better team. Minus 165 for the Rangers, so I can't get behind that. Money line is way too high. When we start looking at the Rangers in St. Louis, they play terrible in St. Louis. They've only won 1 of the last 5 meetings in St. Louis. I do think we look at the St. Louis Blues here at plus 140. I hate to do it, but I do think the value is on them here. The Rangers, I don't know. Something just in me tells me off that big win over the Lightning 6-3, they kind of underestimate what we're going to get out of the Blues in this game. We know the Blues are a scrappy team. They have no one left. Like no one left on this team, but they've been surprising us. They got that nice big win over the Flyers 4-2. And I do think they roll with some momentum into this one. So if you don't like the Blues here, what I would suggest is looking at the first period over 1.5 and both teams to score in the first period. I do think both these teams come strong out of the gate and both find the back of each other's nets. I do love the Rangers, though. I wish I could bet them here, but I can't bet them with. They're sitting nicely in third in the Metro. I think they're pretty solidified in their placing here. So I don't know how much full effort we'll get out of the New York Rangers. We're going to get a good game. I do think this one goes over the 6.5. I just think with Halleck expected, we do see the more goals come in for St. Louis, giving us the opportunity to pull off the upset. So the last time these teams played, it was a 6-4 win in December for the New York Rangers. Johnny, you're going to roll with the live dog in the St. Louis Blues. I do think, you got this home team with no one left, young talent left there. Raven going to roll with the Rangers on the money line. Kenny not sure about the Blues. 3-game goal streak. That is a pretty nice goal streak to keep riding. Yeah, Rangers struggle in St. Louis. And this is the thing. We look at these trends, you guys, and a lot of the time you look at it and you're like, okay, the Rangers are the better team. Hockey is one of those sports that those trends really stay pretty true with a lot of these games, especially when we're coming down to this point in the season where the Rangers are they're going through the motions. Yes, would they like the win? Absolutely, but they're not going to risk injury to get that win. St. Louis, on the other hand, they know they dominate the Rangers when they come into town. So this team, young team, is going to give it all they have. You're going to fire with the home dog. I absolutely love it, Johnny. Best of luck in that one. Okay, let's look at the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Dallas Stars. You guys, this is one of those matchups you look right away, and the Stars are the better team. They're minus 255. They're sitting second in the Central. The Central Division is still battling it out for who's going to get home ice. Now, the Philadelphia Flyers coming in here at plus 215. They have lost their last 4. This team is going golfing in the next couple weeks. They've also absolutely struggled in Dallas. I do not see them coming in and getting an upset or even keeping this one tight. They're 0-5 in their last 5 meetings in Dallas and 0-5 in their last 5 meetings overall versus the Dallas Stars. So Jake Ottinger is confirmed here for the Dallas Stars, Carter Hart for the Philadelphia Flyers. This one's a simple one for me. I think it's going to be very similar to the last time these teams played back in November. This is Dallas all the way for a nice big win. I'm going to grab them on that puck line in the first period. That first period puck line is coming in at plus 120, laying the half a goal. I love that. You guys know I love that plus money. Now, if you just want to take the full game puck line, you're laying 1.5 goals at minus 105. And I think they're both awesome ways to go. We know Jake Ottinger is going to get hit. It's going to be early in that first period, but I could see the Stars scoring 2 goals and the Philadelphia Flyers scoring 1 in that first period. So I still do like the puck line for the Dallas Stars in the first period, but I think the full game, you have a better opportunity of cashing the full game puck line because even with an extra man on the ice at the end of this game, I think we see Jake Ottinger absolutely lights out if they pull their goalies. So I do think this is one where the Stars can cover the puck line. I don't see this one going to OT. The Chicago Blackhawks taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Now, this is 10 o'clock Eastern. We've got a late game here. We have a total of 6.5. The Vancouver Canucks minus 225 plus 190 here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, the Blackhawks are coming off that beautiful win for them over my Calgary Flames, one where Calgary should have won it, but the Blackhawks played so solid in that game. So hats off to them. And the Vancouver Canucks have lost their last 4 games. They want to break this losing streak. That last game was to the Seattle Kraken, who have struggled in Vancouver, but they were able to pull off that win. It was a 5-2 win. Now they have Calgary on deck on Saturday, and Vancouver wants to play upset versus the Calgary Flames. So that will be really interesting to look ahead to that one for us as bettors. But looking at this game, I do think that first period, we see the goals come in fast. I'm going to take the over 1.5 in the first period. That's coming in at minus 138. Now, I would also look at Vancouver's team total and shop your lines, you guys. See what value you can get. That team total over 3.5. I'm getting minus 144. I have seen on some books that I can't bet on minus 140s, and I've seen up to minus 150s. So please, please, please shop those lines. There's not enough value on the puck line here for me on the Vancouver Canucks. So we look at the Vancouver Canucks on the puck line, 18-21 at home. Yes, the Chicago Blackhawks should lose this by a couple goals, but I don't love taking it here because laying the 1.5 with the Vancouver Canucks is plus 110. Not enough value. If I was getting plus 130, plus 140, I would hit Vancouver laying the 1.5, but I don't like it at plus 110. But I do think their team total over 3.5, even though it's juiced, I do think we see 4 goals in this one. Yeah, and I don't blame you. Stay away games. There's so many games that are not that are stay aways today. I think you bet the ones that you feel like one team absolutely has something to play for, or both teams have something to play for. Betting these games, like the Chicago Blackhawks and the Vancouver Canucks, where neither team has much to play for, they're letting their personal lives get into things. Remember, tomorrow is Good Friday. It is a holiday. All of these teams will be off tomorrow. There's no games on the board. So family obligations, teams traveling home, everything like that to spend Good Friday with their families. So weigh that into account. Don't bet a lot on teams that have nothing to play for unless you have a really strong angle on why to bet for them. But on this show, I break down every single game for you, give you my bets, how I would take every single game, just so you guys are wanting to talk about one game, you guys get that information. So it doesn't mean that I'm betting every single one of these games. The LA Kings taking on the Vegas Golden Knights, 10 o'clock Eastern. Now this game is going to be the game of the night, you guys. LA Kings coming in as the underdog at plus 100, minus 120 for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now the Kings play phenomenal hockey versus the Vegas Golden Knights, and I would love to see them get the win here. As a fan of hockey, that's what I want to see, and it's really interesting on how this has played out for me during the season because you guys know I'm a Calgary Flames fan. They are in the Pacific Division, but I've always been a Vegas Golden Knights fan, and I've always said they are my second favorite team because I was allowed to be a fan of them. You know, you get these family teams and that becomes your team, and then when a new franchise starts, it gives us the opportunity where your grandfather's not going to hate you for liking Vegas, right? So you come in and you have these other teams. I've always loved the Pacific Division and everyone in it except for Edmonton because of that rivalry that we have with Battle of Alberta. But looking at these teams, I really did think Vegas would have been the team that I would want to see win. But I love what we've seen out of the LA Kings this year, and I love their addition of Korpisalo. I love what Copley has brought to the table this season as well in goal for them. So this has become like very quickly a team that I love betting on because they've been making us money. And I love seeing them out there on the ice. They're playing fantastic hockey. So it's become one of those teams where, you know, it's controversial in my family to like the LA Kings. My brother probably would slap me if I was in the same room as him and I told him I like the Kings. No, he wouldn't really slap me, but you know what I mean, you guys. I do think the Kings have every opportunity to pull off this upset. Their style of hockey, their physical style, hard-hitting hockey is getting them these wins. Now, they did lose that last one to Edmonton. It was a 3-1 loss. And Vegas is coming off a loss as well in OT, 3-2. When we saw the last matchup between these two back in January, we saw the LA Kings win that game 5-1. And I do think the Kings have every opportunity to win this. And I'm getting plus 100 for the LA Kings. These teams are battling it out in the Pacific. So Vegas is first in the Pacific. We got the Kings third in the Pacific. We know dreaded Edmonton is right in between these two. So the Kings desperate to get this win. They really are. They want to beat Vegas here, but Vegas also wants this win. So these teams are going to play hard. Give me overtime in this game. I think this is a prime opportunity to go to overtime here. Now, I'm a little worried about this total of 6 because if the Kings run away with this like they did in the last game, I could see this one going over that total, but we know how strong the defenses have been playing. My problem here is Vegas in that last game in January allowed the LA Kings to get 5 goals. Vegas struggles versus the Kings. They allow the goals to come in versus the Kings. Now they're allowing that 31.1 shots on goal as well. So this is a scary situation for Vegas. I'm not going to touch the total. The Kings are strong on the road right now, 4-1 in their last 5 on the road. And we have a Vegas Golden Knights team that is in their third game in a 3-4 situation. So in that situation, we do see tired legs out of them. They've gone 1-4 in their last 5 in so many games and so many days. So I'm wary of backing Vegas in this, especially at -120. Now, if we saw the Kings more of the favorite in this one, I would lean me towards getting the value with the home dog, but we're not getting a home dog here. I think the Kings are live on the road here. So, and with me thinking it could go to overtime. Oh man, that's where I'm scared. 2-2 going to OT or 3-3 going to OT, guys, and there, right there is if it goes over or stays under that total. So these teams trend to the over when they play. 15 of the last 21 meetings have gone over. We've got one push. If you want to buy it up to 7, at worst case, you push and take the under 7, because I do think this one hits 7 or stays under that. There you go. That's where I'm going with that, you guys. It's going to be a great game on the ice. Yeah, the Kings at plus money is so hard to pass up with. I know, Edmonton trying to win that Stanley Cup. They have to get past. They have to get past Calgary. Just joking. They'll get past Calgary. We're probably, I don't know. Fingers crossed Calgary makes it to the playoffs. You just want Thompson back in the playoffs. I don't blame you. That is for sure. Leafs on the money line for Sean. Sean, I wish you all the best with the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. I do think they have the possibility of pulling it off with Ryan O'Reilly back in the lineup. Plus 285 for Vegas and the Kings to hit overtime. You got to hit this overtime. Any of these games that are so meaningful for both of these teams, especially when you look the Battle of the Pacific, you guys, you look at these teams where they're against a divisional opponent, it means something to both of these teams. You're best at hitting those situations to go to OT. This is a perfect one to hit to go to OT. I absolutely love it. Okay, next game on the ice. We've got 2 more to go over, you guys. We have the Colorado Avalanche taking on the San Jose Sharks next. This 10:30 Eastern, total 6.5. Now we have the Avs coming in at -230, plus 195 for the Sharks. This is the Sharks, you guys. The Sharks can't play at home. We know we've seen them pull off a couple upsets in the last week or so, but they're off a loss here. We've got them at plus 195. That's not enough value for me to back a Sharks team that's 7-20 and 6-5 at home this season. Now Colorado's rolling in here. Cale Makar again day to day with this team. These teams did just play. This is not Groundhog Day, and Colorado won. San Jose pushed them to OT. So that is scary. And then when we look at Colorado in San Jose, it's also scary. 8-25 in the last 33 meetings. They're also 16-5 in the last 21 meetings overall versus the San Jose Sharks. I do think Colorado gets this win, but -230 here on the money line. We can't bet it straight up. We've got them 21-15 on the road on the puck line. I'm going to take my chances with the puck line in the first period. I do think that's where we see the Avs with Georgiev expected in goal have a really solid first period here. The first period puck line laying that half a goal is plus 124. Now strong trends to the over in San Jose with 15 of the last 21 going over. We did get that one push, and we know that last game did go over 4-3 style game. So it'll be interesting to see if the Sharks can replicate what they did last time. I don't want to put a play on the Sharks here, you guys. You could take them plus 1.5 at -130. The home team has had the weight in these matchups when these two opponents play, but I don't want to put money on a Sharks team that hasn't made us money this season, especially at home. So I'm not going to. It's the Avs in the first period puck line or nothing for me in this one. And it's not one I'm rushing to bet either. It's just what I would bet if you really want to bet it. Sean liking the Kings on the money line as well. Yeah, if you take plus 1.5 and the under 6.5 in the Hurricanes and Predators game, I do like that too. That is a great way to go with that. You shouldn't. I shouldn't what? I shouldn't like the Kings. I shouldn't. What shouldn't I do? Bet the San Jose Sharks. There's a lot of things I shouldn't do. Also shouldn't go to Starbucks every day. I got my Starbucks here. It's very good today. Okay, the Arizona Coyotes and the Seattle Kraken, 10:30 Eastern. This game is so meaningful for the Kraken. they win tonight, they clinch the playoff spot. And we've got an Arizona Coyotes team that's just been hanging out in Seattle. These two teams played on the 3rd, so that is Monday. And it's Thursday, so I don't know what the Arizona Coyotes have been doing in Seattle, but they've lost their last 8 games. And while this team was a team that was making us money hand over fist on that puck line for that run of the puck line is over. And I'm not going to put any more money on them. They are cruising into golfing a season. I'm sure they've got a couple rounds done out there in Seattle, but the Seattle team is focused. They got Grubauer expected in goal. They want this win. Now, you look at this line, and I hate this line, minus 325 here for the Seattle Kraken, total 6.5. I do think you look at the first period over 1.5. I think we see a couple goals coming in fast in this game. So the over 1.5 in the first period is minus 138. If you want to take both teams to score, you can, but my confidence in the Coyotes cruising in for this last week here isn't too high. I do lean on the full game going over that total. You could look at the Kraken on the puck line here. They're 19-19 on that puck line. Like I said, they want this win. They want a nice big win. They would love to get that clinch spot tonight on home ice in front of their home crowd. So I do expect them to have a phenomenal one here. I do expect their defense to really limit the Coyotes. They hold opponents to 27 shots on goal per game, which is 2nd in the league. And we have an Arizona Coyotes team that really struggles to get those shots on goal, only averaging 25.6. So could we see a shutout here tonight, 4-0 win for the Seattle Kraken? Absolutely. I could see that happening. Now, the Kraken's team total over 3.5 is too highly juiced. So that's at minus 166. I do think this is something you can sprinkle on that shutout for Grubauer. I do think we see 2 quick goals out from the Seattle Kraken in the first period as well. So, and I would lean on the full game going over, but that means that the Coyotes have to score a couple. So if there's no shutout, I do think this is a 5-2 style game here. Nice big win for the Seattle Kraken. I think they cover that puck line. Yeah, the Kraken should be flying in the first. You're going to take the puck line at laying 3.5 on that puck line, Raven. That's ballsy. I like it. Sean, good luck to you too as well tonight. Yeah, I think you've got to look at their team total over. I worry about the Arizona Coyotes putting up enough. Absolutely, Joe. Your Kraken are rolling. Release the Kraken tonight, you guys. You shouldn't bet the San Jose Sharks. Yeah, Kenny, you should never bet the San Jose Sharks. They are losing us money, but the San Jose Sharks are one of those interesting teams, and if you live bet them this season, when they went down in that first period by 2 goals, and then you grab them on that puck line, depending on where that puck line was, in some of the cases, they were such big underdogs that you could get them plus 3.5 on that puck line at like minus 112. Then that's the opportunity to bet the Sharks, because there are a lot of these games they're losing by 2, not 4 goals. So, or even 3, and you're grabbing them. Well, there was 3.5 in some of those games. So there was some money to be made with the Sharks. You just got to pick and choose your spots. Absolutely. You guys, that's all the games. 14 games on the board today. Let's build a parlay. Let's make some freaking money tonight. I will point out my favorite bets of the day, which games mean the most for you guys, so we can get on the right games to make us some money instead of the games that are less meaningful for teams. So let's do this. Let's build 2 parlays, 1 meaningless games, 1 meaningful games, and then I'll give you my best bets. Sound good, you guys? I think so. Okay. Let's go. Let's parlay, you guys. The first game on the board, we are looking at, God, there's a lot of games. Scrolling up in my book to find all the games here. The Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the New Jersey Devils. Now this one, I don't think there's enough in this game for me to classify this as a have to kind of win situation. Now the Devils want the win. Absolutely. They're sitting second in the Metro, but this isn't one where I feel completely confident in this game. I think this will be, we'll call this parlay 1. And this will be the don't care parlay. And then we'll do parlay 2 is the teams that matter. is what we'll call that one. So I will recap these all at the end because I know I'll get confused here and confusing for you guys. So the Columbus Blue Jackets and New Jersey Devils, I'm classifying this one as we've got a team that doesn't care here in the Columbus Blue Jackets, really, so I can't throw them into the teams that matter. But I do think Columbus, the Blue Jackets, play hard enough to cover the 2.5 on the puck line. Plus 2.5 on the puck line is minus 120 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think the Devils win this, but by 2 goals or 1 goal. I think we'll get enough out of the Columbus Blue Jackets who actually play really strong in New Jersey. Could they upset this one? Absolutely, especially if the New Jersey Devils look past them. I don't think they will, though. I think this is a 1 goal or 2 goal win. I don't see it being a 3 goal win. So in the parlay number 1, we'll call it 1 and 2. In parlay number 1, I'm going to put the Columbus Blue Jackets plus 2.5. Now looking at the Minnesota Wild and the Pittsburgh Penguins, both of these teams absolutely care in this matchup. Marc-Andre Fleury is playing against his old team, the team that drafted him. I'm going to take Marc-Andre Fleury over 31.5 save shots on goal. That's coming in at minus 104. And I think that is a fantastic way to take this. He's going to want to show his old team he still has what he has. I think you look at the other side of the puck. The Pittsburgh Penguins absolutely need this win, holding on to playoff desperation. They're desperate for this win. So we know that doesn't always cash for us, but I do think the Penguins here on the money line is the play of this game. It's one of my best bets of the day. So let's do the best bet section. 2 is the Penguins here at minus 125 is what we're getting the Penguins on that money line. I think they have this game. I do think Marc-Andre Fleury stands on his head, though, so it's not going to be easy. I do think this one has every chance of going to overtime here between the Wild and the Penguins, so I would look at that as well. As for the total, I'm going to stay off. For the parlay, this is the team that cares. I'm going to put the Wild care too, you guys. They're sitting 3rd in the Central. They're going to give it everything they have too. But I do think the Penguins pull off a win on home ice tonight on the money line. That's what I'm going to throw into the second parlay. The Ottawa Senators and the Florida Panthers. You guys, I think this one has the ability to go to overtime as well. I think the Ottawa Senators love to pull off upsets, and Brady Tkachuk and this team is not giving up in these games. So I look at Brady Tkachuk to find the back of Alex Leon net as well. Cam Talbot, he's been letting in some easy goals, and you guys, I just realized this. We do have the battle of the Tkachuk brothers the last time these two teams played. Brady Tkachuk definitely had a better game than Matthew Tkachuk. We all know that. We're going to see an absolute battle out here on the ice. Not that Brady Tkachuk wants to upset his brother's hopes for playoffs, but these are competitors and they come out and they play hard. So looking at Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk, both for anytime goals here, I absolutely love. But I do think the Florida Panthers get this win. I like them in the first period on the puck line. I do think this is a 2-1 style first period for the Florida Panthers. So the over 1.5, both teams to score in the first period, I do think are really solid bets as well. And I do think this one to go to overtime. So these two teams absolutely care out on the ice what kind of performance they're going to get. The Panthers, again, fighting for that playoff spot. I'm going to put the Panthers in the second parlay just on the money line because I do think this has the opportunity to go to OT. But in the parlay, I don't mind laying the minus 240. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins, another game, battle of the Atlantic here. Neither of these teams wants to get the loss, especially the Bruins on home ice, but I think the Leafs are going to be playing harder in this one with Ryan O'Reilly back into the lineup for the first time in, 4 or 5 weeks here. I do think this one, again, has the possibility of going to OT, and I think when we look at this, with the possibility of going to OT, I think it's a 3-3 style game, pushing us over that total of 6. It's going to be a fantastic game, you guys. I'm gonna look at Ryan O'Reilly for an anytime goal. I think that's a solid way to go. As for the parlay, I'm going to throw this into these teams. They're both sitting in the Atlantic, both want the win, but I don't see this as a game that we have one team that has to win. Like, they're not playing for their lives here. So I will put the Leafs and the Bruins over 6 in the first parlay, because I think this one has the opportunity for, I don't know. There's not enough to play for me to really feel strongly about that game. The Washington Capitals and Montreal Canadiens, another game, not feeling too strongly about. So I am going to put my favorite bet of this bet into the first parlay, which will be the Capitals and Montreal over 6.5 in this one. I do think we see a Capitals team come out to get the win, but they're sitting minus 155 here. Both these teams have been on a losing streak, so I don't feel comfortable in either team straight up. And you guys know I hate laying minus 155 juice. I'd rather take the home dog in Montreal, especially with Sam Montembeault, but I don't know if they can get this win. Both these teams are ready to go golfing, and I think the Capitals have more pride that they're playing for here. Not to say Montreal isn't playing for pride, but I do think the Capitals probably get the win in that one. So give me the Capitals and Montreal in the first parlay over 6.5. The Buffalo Sabres and the Detroit Red Wings. Again, two teams, not a lot to play for. I'm going to throw the Sabres on the money line into the first parlay. I do think they probably get the win. Tage Thompson is still day-to-day with them. Now, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Islanders, you guys, in the second parlay, I'm throwing the Islanders on the money line. I do think they have every opportunity to pull off this win at home versus the Lightning, who are on the back-to-back, who struggle on a back-to-back. And again, we have an Islanders team desperate to get this win. So give me the Islanders to get the win. I love the teams that have more to play for in these games, you guys. Looking at that total, I'm going to stay off 5.5. It's a scary one there. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Nashville Predators. Again, I think the Predators, while I think Carolina has something to play for, I think the Predators have more. We're getting such great value. So I'm throwing the Preds on the money line. Actually, let's throw the Preds. We're going to get value at plus 1.5 on the puck line. But for one of my best bets, I am taking the Preds plus 150 in one of my best bets. They won back in January, 5-3. They are fighting for a playoff spot here, trying to keep alive. So I do think they have every opportunity to do so today. Now, the New York Rangers and the St. Louis Blues. Automatically, when I looked at this game originally, it was Rangers or nothing for me. And then I dug into how the Rangers do in St. Louis. They're pretty comfortable at third in the Metro here. So I don't see much changing for this team, even with the loss here tonight. I do think St. Louis is alive tonight at home. I'm going to put it in the long shot parlay, the first parlay for St. Louis at plus 140, because it's kind of one of those games where St. Louis isn't clinging to anything to get this win. So I do think we look at the first period over 1.5, both teams to score in the first period, this game to go over 6.5. We know the Rangers were able to put up 6 goals on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Jordan Binnington is likely for the St. Louis Blues, which doesn't give me a lot of faith. Actually, let's leave St. Louis out of the long shot parlay. Let's just put the Rangers and St. Louis over 1.5 for the first period, because I do think that one will cash nicely into the parlay. The Philadelphia Flyers and the Dallas Stars. The Stars absolutely still battling it out in the Central for their spot. I do think they come away with a nice big win here. I like them on the puck line in the first period. I like them on the puck line for the full game. I do think Jake Ottinger has a fantastic night. Could he get a shutout here? Absolutely. I don't trust the Philadelphia Flyers very much at all. They've lost their last 4 games. They lost to the St. Louis Blues, you guys. And it wasn't a loss to the St. Louis Blues where they weren't trying. This team was actually trying in that loss. So give me the Dallas Stars. One of my favorite bets here is the Stars puck line minus the 0.5 in the first period. That's coming in at minus 105. For the team that cares, I'm just going to throw the Stars in the second parlay in regulation. Bring down those odds a little bit. I will recap these parlays too, because I'm getting confused where I'm putting stuff as well. Well, not confused, but if I was listening to this and not writing it, I would be desperately confused and need an explanation after. The Chicago Blackhawks, Vancouver Canucks, two teams that are not playing for anything. Give me the first period over 1.5 between these two. I do think Vancouver on home ice probably pulls off the win, but I'm not touching that puck line. Laying 1.5, it's only plus 110. It's not enough value for me on Vancouver, but I do like the Blackhawks and Vancouver over 1.5 for the first parlay in the first period. I think we see this game probably go over that total as well. And I think that Vancouver gets over the total of 3.5. That's juiced at minus 144. The LA Kings and the Vegas Golden Knights, you guys, the Kings are one of my best bets tonight at plus 100. I am nervous about this one. Absolutely, but I do think they can get it done here versus the Vegas Golden Knights. These two teams battling it out in the Pacific. This game screams my favorite overtime. The Kings and Vegas to go to OT tonight. Both of these teams have the ability to push this one to OT. Do they want to? No, because they don't want to give each other a point, but I do see this one being a case where we can see both of these teams coming out of this game with points. So that is my favorite OT bet of the day is the Kings and Vegas. Like I said, when I'm looking at overtime games, I look at divisional matchups with something to play for these games to go to overtime at this point in the year. So I do think that is a great one. But the Kings, we will throw into the parlay. Let's do Kings plus 1.5 in the We Care parlay on that puck line. Now that is too juicy to bet it straight up, but I do like it in the parlay. Kings straight up on the money line, though, is my best bet. The Colorado Avalanche and the San Jose Sharks, they might as well be the same team. They play pretty much terrible, both of them. I am looking at the Colorado Avalanche to get the win here on the puck line in the first period, laying a half a goal at plus 124. We did just see these teams matched up. So for the parlay, just give me the Avs in regulation. I do think they get it done in regulation, you guys. They come out nice and strong. The last game, the San Jose Sharks did push it to OT. So if you like the Sharks plus 1.5 at minus 130, I don't blame you here, but I can't bet on the Sharks. I can't give them any of my money. It's like it's going straight into their pockets and they're burning it. So I can't do it. The Arizona Coyotes and the Seattle Kraken should dominate in this one. This game means a lot to the Kraken. Give me the Kraken. First period. Give me the Kraken full game puck line. I like as well. Give me the Kraken's team total over 3.5. And that's actually what I will put into the parlay, the team total over 3.5 for the Kraken. But I do think they come out nice and strong. That first period goes over 1.5 goals at minus 138 as well. I could see this one being a shutout though. So I'm not as confident in the over 6.5 for the full game, but I could see this being a 4-0 shutout here for Grubauer. Like I said, Arizona has been just hanging out in Seattle for the last 3-4 days. They've been probably hitting the golf course early. Nothing to play for the Arizona Coyotes. I know they made us money. Clayton Keller made us a lot of money. So you could look at him for the anytime goal if you believe that the Coyotes going to get a goal tonight. I just don't see it coming. Grubauer is a strong goalie, and this team wants a nice, big, strong, dominating win at home. So the Kraken all day long. So those long shot parlays. Okay, so we've got the teams that really don't have much to play for tonight that we're looking as kind of a, crapshoot. Is what you call it. You don't know the motivation of these teams. Do they want to come out and spoil? What do they want to do tonight? But that I don't care parlay number 1. We're going to go the Columbus Blue Jackets plus 2.5 on the puck line. The Leafs and the Bruins over 6. Now, these are two teams that, yes, they care, but what are we going to see out of them? And that's why I'm throwing them in the I don't care. The Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens, these teams don't care. Give me the over 6.5 in a game where they really open up offensively. The Sabres on the money line, I think the Sabres get it done tonight. The Rangers and the St. Louis Blues, I think the first period over 1.5 is a strong way to go. And then the Blackhawks in Vancouver, the first period over 1.5. So I'll recap that one more time. Parlay number 1, Columbus Blue Jackets plus 2.5 on the puck line. The Leafs and the Bruins over 6. The Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens over 6.5. The Sabres on the money line. Rangers and the St. Louis Blues over 1.5 in the first period, and the Blackhawks of Vancouver over 1.5 in the first period. Now, looking at the games that matter to teams, I'm taking shots with the dogs here because I think they have better opportunity. The Penguins here on the money line. I'm also going to take the Panthers on the money line, the Islanders on the money line, and I love all three of those just parlayed by themselves. But this long shot parlay, I'm also going to include the Predators plus 1.5 on the puck line just in case that game goes the opposite way. But I do think it's tight. The Stars in regulation will throw in there. The Kings plus 1.5 on the puck line again, just in case there's a little bit of puck luck in overtime for Vegas. The Avs in regulation, because I think they get it done in regulation, and the Krakens team total over 3.5. But I do think the Kraken dominate. They need to clinch tonight. Now, my best bets, you guys, I love the Kings here, plus 100 on that money line. I love the Kings and Vegas to go to OT. I think those are my favorite bets of the day. This is going to be the best game of the night. The Penguins at minus 125 on the money line, I absolutely love. The Predators for that big dog win at plus 150 in a must-win game, I love tonight. And the Dallas Stars on the puck line or in regulation or in the first period. I think the Dallas Stars also are in a game where they want to win. So that's everything. We built a whole bunch of parlays. I gave you my best bets. It's been a great show, you guys. It's been an hour. Thank you for hanging out with me. Nashville plus 165 over there. Always shop those lines, you guys. Absolutely. I try to give you the lines just over from FanDuel, but you guys always make sure you go everywhere and get your best lines, because at the end of the year, it absolutely matters. They have been playing their way well out of the regular season. That is true, but I think the Avs really need to take their division, and they need every win they can get. So it is kind of scary with the Sharks pushing to OT in the last one versus Colorado, but I don't think they do it in this one. Okay, where am I at with these comments? Sorry, I was just looking at the comments. St. Louis has been eliminated. Yeah, the St. Louis Blues do not have anything to play for. We knew that they got rid of everyone. So, where are we at? Good luck, Chris. I wish you guys all the best. What are you looking at? Does anyone like the Stars minus 165 and the Kraken at minus 120 in regulation? I think that's a solid way to go with that one. You guys jump in those comments. Let him know, Boomer, here what you guys are liking as well. I think it's a solid way to go. You are welcome, James Jones. I appreciate each and every one of you. Yeah, St. Louis does not have anything. Krakens and Stars both in regulation. Nice parlay, you guys. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you give me that thumbs up. YouTube hit 1,400 followers yesterday, so we're 1,400 and a couple. I want to thank you guys so much for subscribing to the channel. This show wouldn't be possible without each and every one of you. So make sure you hit that like if you haven't subscribed. Hit that subscription button. I am putting out a bunch of different stuff all the time. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. It's gorgeous weather. I am going to take my Starbucks drink, my notebook, and my laptop and hit the deck, start looking over Saturday's games, you guys. We've got a full slate on Saturday as well. Now, I will be live on Sports Grid this weekend between 5 and 8 Eastern on Saturday and 6 and 10 Eastern on Sunday evening. So Pocket with Joe will be out during the day. I'll make sure I try to get Pocket with Joe up before those first couple of games kick off. And if I can't, make sure you have those notifications up, because otherwise I will have those first couple of games on the community post of what I'm liking. So you guys have a good one. Keep smiling. Let's make some freaking money. All the best in all your bets.